How unhinged was your tier list there? What do you think? Let's go to this way. No random encounter. You saw your beggar Chad armor? It's pretty unhinged. Dude, if Dread Spider's saying that your perks tier list is unhinged, man, that's quite Here. Fuck it. Let's Alright. Good on anyone. 9 lives, underdog. Bags and belts. Good on any. Battle Forged. Good on anyone. Steel Brow. Good on anyone. Those are some hot takes there, buddy. Hot takes for sure. I don't have too much of an opinion on Overwhelm right now. But Battle Forged over Nimble. Steel Brow, I mean, like, I think Steel Brow is like C tier. You know, I think that I fully agree that you should. I like 9 lives over Steel Brow, even on Battle Force, bro. Yes, yeah, I know. Brit, welcome in, Brit. Nice to see you. Same with Bags. Very niche. Read your tiers descriptions. It's good on anyone. Okay, thank you for the tiers descriptions, Bobo. So Bobo classifies it as S tier is good on anyone. A tier is excellent with the right stats. B tier is excellent with the right stats and perks. C is you know what you're doing. D is tempo, bro. You put gifted in tempo, bro? Gifted is tempo, bro? What? What? Whoa, dude. Jeez, man. That's something right there, buddy. Gifted is tempo. Gifted has diminishing returns with bro level. I would not agree that gifted is purely a tempo perk. Quick Hands useless. I didn't even see that. Berserk useless. Killing Frenzy useless. Dude, the fact that this man actually rated Resilient over Berserk, Killing Frenzy, Quick Hands, and Student blows my mind. Blows my mind. Yeah, no, Brit, no, I would not agree that the gifted is only for tempo bros, right? It's +3 to the stats that matter. Oh, it's a troll. Oh, okay, got you. Okay, all right. I mean, like, well, no, we're about like the discussions here. You know what I mean? Like, we can have scholarly debates, like ladies, gentlemen, and other people who don't fit into those categories of academic scholarly work when it comes to Battle Brothers, you know. So like you can say unhinged stuff, right? Like this, and it will be taken seriously for at least a little while, and we shall entertain your idea. I think let's what is the most gotta be troll. But I'll review yours real quick, Dread Spider 2. Okay, all right. Never take gifted outside of tempo. I prefer something else at tier 2. I mean, I don't know. Like, for me, gifted makes it so that a lot of the bros that it also depends. Okay, so if we're talking about tier lists, right? So tier lists kind of suck a little bit. That's why I said in the Discord, hey, if you're going to use a tier list, then, you know, go ahead and, like, clarify what you mean, right? Because, you know, you can just be like, Steel Brow S tier, and we're like, what? And then he's like, oh, well, he means that Steel Brow is good on anyone, which tries a little bit to make it less subjective. You know what I mean? So it already tierlists already struggle with that, right? But also a big thing with Battle Brothers is like how you play the game, right? So for me, we've talked about this previously. Anybody who rates 9 lives very low, I immediately think this person resets and saves subs. Now, there's anything morally wrong with that, but that's just a completely different way of playing the game that fundamentally changes it. Using something like the tryout mod also fundamentally changes it, right? So for me, you know, with Gifted, I don't use the tryout mod, right? And I frequently find myself starving for chads. So Gifted turns guys who are almost chads into chads, and that's why I like Gifted a lot. You verse something else at tier 2. If you remove this perk from the game, would it change how you play? Gifted, no, it changes no one's play. Pathfinder 9 Lives Zero totally changes the game. Well, changes the game. I feel like you should add the word significantly, because technically any change is still changing the way you play the game, right? If plus 3 stat turns a bad bro into a good bro, not sure what to say. I didn't say bad into good. That's not what I said. So, do you guys remember when I didn't say that? Because I did. What I said was it turns guys who are almost chads into chads, right? So, almost chad doesn't mean bad, right? Turns a bro who's already good, but not great. Pathfinder makes mini fights a nightmare. It gets you killed in ambushes. Sure, right? I mean, I'm not going to contend with that. Absolutely will not contend with that. I'm not low on Pathfinder. I think, since Bobo, this is Bobo that's just tier list, right? Was already good. Raw stats has diminishing returns. Okay, so that's an argument. That's a claim, right? What's your reasoning or logic behind if a bro is already good, raw stats has diminishing returns? In my mind, if a guy has 97 melee attack versus 94, I think that's good. It's actually how demanding the perks are. What do you mean demanding? What do you guys think is the hottest take on Bobovich's tier list right here? What do you guys think is the hottest take? We'll give Bobovich the floor. It's not a claim, it's a fact. Increasing stats is diminishing returns. Going from 10% to 20% is more powerful than 80 to 90%. Well, okay. So, just saying something is a fact doesn't make it a fact, right? So, I mean, like, sure, I'm not saying you're wrong, right? Like, but you're just going from 10% to 20% is more powerful than 80 to 90%. Let's say that I don't know enough about math to know what you're saying with that. To me, that's the same difference, right? If that has to do with bell curves and statistics or something like that, it's something that I currently have a deep enough understanding of to really dissect, right? Like, if you have 1,000 HP, plus 10 HP is less useful than if I have 50 HP. The more stats you have, the less useful a flat increase is. When you increase the chance from 80 to 90%, you reduce the miss chance from 20 to 10, which literally twice. Interesting. I mean, like, Britnoth, would you say that, like, let's take melee defense for example. So, for a lot of people, the melee defense benchmark is something like 35 melee defense, right? And you're trying to get a guy with 35 melee defense for a front line, whether he's nimble or battle force or whatever. Let's say that was your benchmark, okay? But you had a guy who was only going to get to level 32, but he had a really high melee attack. Would you consider taking gifted on that guy to get him to 35 melee defense so that he could stand in the front line? Like, is that a reasonable middle ground that you think would be an instance where you take gifted? Never. You would never do that. Okay. Why would you never? Why would you never do that? Because that's something that I find myself doing quite a lot. "32 or 35 is the human mind obsession over a specific number. It's not statistically relevant." So you're just taking the guy with 32 melee defense. You need more THC. Yeah, maybe you do. Either, if you need an upper or a downer, adjust yourself accordingly. If you need neither, drink some water. You're happy with 32 melee defense? Let's be honest, a perk that limits you to taking another perk is not a good perk when compared to a standalone, not demanding perk. When you see streamers taking +1s on melee defense, I scream internally, "Oh dude, I'll take +1s on melee defense." Probably 70% of the time. I will absolutely, oh dude, so much. I absolutely do it. But I'm not dogmatic about it. Right. I absolutely will do that 70% of the time. It depends on the build and what I'm going for. Like on tanks, I'll probably take +1s on melee defense every single time. To answer you, you suspect that quick hands is the worst take on this list. Okay. I think quick hands is a good thing to target towards. I think quick hands being useless in a real fight is quite the claim. I feel like that's the most contradictory to standard Battle Brothers metagame of the takes on this list. A bunch of other stuff, right? But I think quick hands is the worst. So, Wojovich, the floor is yours. Would you like to defend your claim of quick hands, or if you even rather hop in the voice chat in the Discord, I'll give you the mic real quick and you can defend your quick hand stance. Quick hands is the weakest spot. No mic. All right, just let us know your thoughts in the chat, Bobovich. Or you can just choose to say, "I don't want to give my thoughts," and then we'll just sit here and screech. Quick hands is fatigue demanding. Okay. Yeah, archers, Battleforge. Yeah. But I think quick hands is. I agree that quick hands is a little bit more. Lets you digitally void nimble bros and make Battleforge throwers. That can see 3 tiles away at night. Just took 30 milligrams of RSO and hit the bowl with some Jacker, 32% top tier tastiness. Feeling much better. Okay, all right, that's good. That's good, Rowan. I'm happy that you're chilling, dude. Happy that you're chilling. You know, fucking is that the only bullet point you got? That quick hands is fatigue demanding? I actually don't know how much fatigue it takes off the top of my head to quick hand swap to a weapon. Yeah, I think that, you know, I think that anybody who says that I would disagree with anybody who says that you should only ever take Nimble or you should only ever take Battle Forge. I disagree with either of those claims. I think that you technically can win the game with only Nimble, and you can technically win the game with Battle Forge. Quick Hands takes no fatigue, it just adjusts to the current plus max. This explains my point with Quick Hands. What explains your point with Quick Hands? Bubble. Reason for this is that we used to drop heavy items on the floor to free up fatigue mid-battle. Oh. Quick Hands lets you attack faster, which allows you also accumulate more fatigue. Do you mean are you talking like in the context of like a two-hander with a polearm in the back pocket, like that form of Quick Hands? Or are you talking about throwers? Or both? Both? Okay. Pretty ignore. I personally just don't take Quick Hands. Okay, alright. Gotcha. Alright, so I think that is everybody, you know, give a little silent applause for Bobovich throwing his tier list into the fray. Thank you for your contribution, Bobovich. You guys can continue to debate that if you so choose. Dread Spider's still in here, so let's go over his tier list. And if Manifest is still in here, we can pull his up as well. Let's see. Here it is. We're gonna look at Dread Spider's most unhinged take. We're gonna discuss it for the class. All right, this is Dread Spider's tier list. Best troll of the year thus far. Mine has 2 mistakes. Okay. What are your 2 mistakes, Dread Spider? Taunt should be C. Okay. Taunt should be C. So everybody ignore the fact that taunt's in D and pretend that it's in A. Yes, you can make a Battle Forge Archer. That's state dependent there, Rowan. So, Dread Spider's got taunt here. I think... Okay, so big things that jump out to me real quick about Dread Spider. Dread Spider's take, right? Polearm mastery over Nimble. Interesting. Very interesting to me. The fact that Dodge made S tier, but Nimble didn't. Berserk, Killing Frenzy, and 9 Lives didn't. And Fearsome in B tier. Fearsome in B tier. Taunt should be low C. Gotcha, yeah, that's the first mistake you made. Taunt should be low C. Right. I think, for me, the main thing that I'm looking at, I think Fearsome in B is a tragedy. I think that might be the biggest Indom and C also is confusing to me. Student S tier. You know student is noob bait, right? Yeah, I mean, I think like for me, it's like I'm giving Dreadspider the benefit of the doubt that he's not mindlessly just taking student on every bro at level 1. He's, you know, taking it when he's got like a squad of level 4 to 5 bros and he's like found a good guy that he's trying to raise to which I think student in that case is like super cool. High B, low A isn't much difference. Indom is used by 1 to 2 bros. Fair. Taunt 1 to 2. Okay. Rally is usually only on 1 bro, but it's kind of important. Same with Indom. Yes. So like if that's the criteria, so let me see. How Manifest defined, he was the first one who did the tier list that got us started in the Discord about it. Manifest defined the tiers as F tier is true trash, D is usable on a specific build occasionally, C you take on 1 to 2 bros consistently, B is a reasonable take on a large number of the squad, A is a staple, and S are perks that significantly move the needle, things that offer a true power spike if taken ASAP. And Dreadspider used similar criteria. Reach advantage over Steelbrow. You value Rally more than Indom? I agree with that. I agree with that. But I mean, I feel like based off the criteria, Rally should be at the top of C tier then, right? Executioner B tier, Thug Perk. Oh, whoa, whoa. I'm not as high as Dreadspider and Executioner, but I think Executioner's good. Yeah. I basically never take adrenaline. I never take resilient, bullseye, crippling strikes, adrenaline. I haven't played around with reach advantage or overwhelm enough to really have an opinion on either of them. I think that I agree that there are some use cases for taunt for sure. I don't think I don't disagree with all that much on Dreadspider's list. AoE bows? You mean gunners? You take overall and it's pretty bad most fights? Yeah, cripple is a term that's used in the game that we play, so I permitted cripple. Has a place if you want to hunt, say, lindworms. Is Manifest still in here? Rocks didn't show up. If he was, then I would go over his tier list real quick.
I'll bullshit before the run starts. At some point during the stream tomorrow, I'll show my little tier list, and you guys can roast me for that. You know, and that'll be great fun. If any of you guys wants to submit your tier lists for community roastage, more than welcome to do so. Just go ahead and throw them in the Discord, and we'll get to them. Overwhelm is actually opposite of what I consider a thug perk. I consider it very high. Yeah, like I said, I'm very neutral on both Overwhelm and Reach Advantage. I don't think I've ever taken either of those perks. I might have taken Overwhelm on a gunner once, but I didn't get enough feedback to really have an opinion. Hey, What the Bard? Hey, What the Bard? Welcome in. What the Bard? We're bullshitting about tier lists. How you doing, What the Bard? Nice to see you, bud. We started talking about the tier lists in my Discord. You're prepping for a job interview? Oh, dude. I'm sorry, man. Well, I mean, you make the crying face, so that makes me think that you're not happy about it, so I'm sorry. But if you're not sorry, then, you know, you're gonna have to find a job soon? Yeah. That sounds like a good idea. Not a fan of Reach Advantage. It's harder to use than Overwhelm. Only protects the bro with it and adds to defense, which is worse than reducing enemy attack. You would prefer to play games and work on your pet project. That would be nice. That would be nice if you could, man. With the Bard, what's your opinion on Polearm Mastery over Nimble, Battleforge, Berserk? All of these wonderful perks right here. Got jebaited by Final Fantasy? Yeah. I think it was Dread. Yeah, it was Dread Spider. He was like, "Hey man, can we get an extra stream?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, but I don't want to do Battle Brothers Monday because a bunch of people couldn't make it." So I was like, "I'll do Final Fantasy." So I blind played through some Final Fantasy Tactics. Polearm Mastery, just use Goblin Pikes. Goblin Pikes OP. Nibble or Battleforge is something I have in every bro, so it's not really fighting for slots. Polearm Mastery is for Sword Lances, I guess? Yes. Dread Spider is our resident Sword Lance, huge, insane... insane, obsessive mastermind. Apparently he has a 1,500-day campaign with all 12 huge Sword Lance Chads. Polearm Mastery is pretty good on Backliner, but do you think it's better than Fearsome? Not all are huge, most. Haven't built any wonky builds with polearm, quick hand, frontliners. Oh, we had another discussion in here earlier about gifted. I think it was both Britna and Bolovich were on the side of the debate that were arguing that gifted is purely a tempo perk. Do you agree that Gifted is purely a tempo perk with the Bard? Like, you're only supposed to take it on tempo bros? You're not supposed to take it on late game bros? It's not you. So you would not agree that that Gifted is purely a tempo perk? 75% of bros have it. 3 defense is 3 defense. To be fair, Fearsome is stat demanding in all situation. I can see it being good in limited situation. The deeper you go, the merrier. The argument was that on bros who already have premium stats, that gifted gives diminishing returns. 3 defense is 3 defense unless it's 1.5 defense. It's good because it's good against almost all enemies. I see. What the Bard, are you going to be streaming soon? If you break them, it's same as killing, arguably better in some situations. Okay, What the Bard, go ahead and fire your stream up so I can raid you. You know, go and fire your stream up, What the Bard. I'm gonna raid these guys out to you because we've been gone for a few hours. Hey man, that's whatever. That's whatever. I mean, unless everybody decides not to raid you, then I'll find someone else. But typically I'll raid you. All right, yeah. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for participating. Those of you guys who stayed around for Slurgy's raid, appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Shout out to Slurgy for the raid. Slurgy's an awesome guy. Hurry the fuck up, What the Bard. Damn, dude. I'm trying to hook you up, man. Trying to hook you up, bro. We are going to be streaming same time tomorrow. It's going to be Battle Brothers, and at some point we'll be continuing nonsensical tier list Battle Brothers discussions. I mean, eventually, yeah. Not right now, though. I am getting pretty tired, and I think I'm going to probably try to wind down and go to sleep. Here, let's You enjoyed the Final Fantasy Tactics? Okay, well maybe we'll do this on non-Battle Brothers bonus. Watched your tempo video, by the way. Good take on Student there. Thank you, Bobovich. I appreciate that. Yeah, any critiques, I don't expect that everybody agrees with me. But I did work pretty hard on that video, and I hope that it, helps some people out. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. I am working on more videos, but I'm still kind of theory crafting what the next one's going to be about. I'm thinking I'm going to do like a super deep dive into injuries. Yeah, no problem with the Bard. Yeah, of course, man. Let's see. Alright, there we go. Alright, What the Bard's up. We're raiding him. Thank you guys for showing up. You guys are awesome. Please be on your best behavior for What the Bard. What the Bard's chill. Fucking hook him up, guys. Don't get hurt, man. After a recent scripted Goblin Camp ambush event, which messed up my formation and screwed me over, man, you were owning unholds, Stratch, and even Lindworm until that happened. Yeah, dude, all it takes is one bad fight, Bobovich. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing in this run there, boys. That's the next thing. But before we do that, we got a nice little surprise, okay? Nice little surprise for you guys. It's not a surprise. Those of you who were here last time know what's about to happen. But I need to put this into separate tabs. There we go. Yep, it's Turtle Guy. Yep. All right, cool. So, this right here is Rox's perk tier list. Okay? We had a few people in the Discord throw their tier lists up for discussion. At the end of last night's stream, it was Final Fantasy Tactics. We ended up going over Dread Spiders and Boba Boboviches. So I figured we'd go ahead and kick things off here by going over another, pretty big member of our community. Rox here. Yeah. Some people really like to learn through the game exposure. Spear Mastery C tier, Rox outcould you. I know. So this is Rox's tier list. Before we roast them, boys, I asked him what his criteria was. Okay. He said the S is our tiers that you would always think about putting on a bro, or are just good in general. That's how he defines S tier. A tier is similar, but less wanted. B is okay, but not as good as you want. C is meh. And D is you never take it. Never take it. That's how he defines these tier lists, right? Slurgy's gonna roast them. Maybe he should. Here, I'm not gonna. I think. Let's kind of go over the first thing I noticed is, of all the submissions we've got so far, Rox put a lot of shit in S tier. He put a lot of shit in S tier, right? I feel pretty good about his D tier. I mean, I'm not sure I can fully include myself in the Steel Brow is useless camp, but I definitely find myself taking it way, way less in lieu of 9 lives recently. You're going to be flame broiled? It's okay. It's okay. Rox, you're going to have the opportunity to defend any positions that you want to take. Does anybody want to, point out something specific? Is there anything that really stands out that you guys want to, discuss about Rox's opinions, right? For anybody who doesn't know what these perks are, like by the images, we've got Dodge, Gifted, Fast Adaptation, Rotate. Usually tier lists are sorted in order, right? So that would mean that the perk that Rox thinks is the best in the game is Dodge, right? And the worst in the game is Steel Brow to Rox. It's in order, right? That's how tier lists are standardly formatted. So that would mean that he thinks Gifted is better than Rotate, and Rotate is better than Colossus, and Colossus is better than 9 lives. That's what he thinks. Which, just saying that out loud, Underdog is the weakest point here. Okay, all right. So we got some contention. You didn't know that? So that still fits my liking. That is standard tier list terminology. So, Bobovich, you'd like to talk about Underdog then? Let's see. I'd like to point out there's no melon mugging trait rated by Rox. Yes, the template doesn't have anything for the melon mugger trait. So, thank you for pointing that out, though. Bobovich, where would you rate Underdog, if not in B tier? If not low B tier, there, Bobovich. Counterpoint, it has a cute puppy for a portrait, so it can't be bad. You think you have Underdog around there, maybe high C tier, but hovering around there? Yeah, if it were me, I'd probably put Underdog in A tier. You think Underdog is S tier? Okay. Would you care to break down your reasoning for why? Let me see if I can find Bobovich's tier list. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. He puts it in S tier. He says Underdog is good on anyone. That's how Bobovich defines his S tier. Good on anyone. So he says Underdog's good on anyone. It should go in S tier. Also has 9 lives, bags and belts, Battleforge, and Steel Brow up there. Quite the even A is good enough. Stand on my choice. If you push your bros good enough, you do not need Underdog. Okay. It's fantastic on the bros that want it, but I feel like it's taken on way too many bros. There definitely could be some truth to that. Definitely could be some truth. Okay. Do we think that... Okay, so this is the first example of something that comes up when discussing Battle Brothers tier list, right? If you put your bros in good enough positions, you do not need underdog, right? How much should we be factoring in individual player skill when it comes to rating perks in a tier list? Because, let's say that there's a player who's really, really bad, like myself, right? In those instances, I think that perks like rotate 9 lives, underdog, get a lot more valuable, right? But if we're assuming that whatever objective hypothetical player this is has perfect tactics and positioning, then rotate becomes useless, right? Underdog plus 5 defense, at least because you are facing 2 enemies in most cases. Works better the worst situation you're in. I'd agree. To be honest, these tier lists are more of a window into people's play patterns more than anything. I think I'd agree with that. Would y'all say B tier encompasses a lot of perks that are good on the right bro? I think that's a good definition for B tier. The Manifest was the first one to put his... He didn't give me authorization to put his tier list on blast. But Manifest defined B tier as reasonable take on a larger number of the squad. That's what the original definition was. But I think that's a good encompassing definition for B tier. It's all the things. Mobs that you would truly benefit from underdog with your formation don't matter. Orc warriors and armored on holds. Yeah, because they do rush through your formation. You can put it on blast. It's only fair I catch Jet 2. Alright, we'll pull up Manifest after this. I want to remind everyone that I double down on Steel Bro from Pick on Anyone to for Tempo Bros. Alright, thank you for the double down there, Bobo. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure that I can really agree with that there, Bobo. Putting my attention to Rock's list, right? I think that first thing, I think putting this many perks in S tier is kind of... It's definitely a choice. I just don't think that there are that many perks. And the most egregious examples, I think, is Polearm Mastery. I am not very high on Polearm Mastery. I think it's a very mid perk. I might take it on a banner, maybe, or a Sword Lance guy. But other than that, I'm not. I'm not super stoked on Polearm Mastery. I'm a high on Fast Adaptation, but even I wouldn't put it in S tier. I don't think Rally of the Troops is S tier. I don't think any of these masters are S tier. I could go with A tier on it. And I don't think Student is S tier either. I think Student is A tier. Rotate S tier says a lot. Keep Polo Mastery out your fucking mouth. Okay. we got some Polearm Mastery stands in the chat, I see. It's possible to add extra rows in the tier list for more precise tiers. Keep my fucking S tier out your damn. That's the first thing that I'm thinking about when dissecting Rox's list. So, but I don't think there's anything up here that doesn't belong in the high part of the tier list, right? So I mean that's fine. The fact that Polearm Mastery is up here, but Quick Hands is an A tier, is definitely confusing to me. Bow Mastery, I think, is a little bit sus. The fact that these weapon masteries are above throwing weapon mastery is kind of confusing to me. I like Anticipation here. I think Brawny should probably be C tier. It's just a patch perk in my opinion. If I have to take Brawny, I'm not happy about it. You the Student S tier, get out. I don't know, man. I think Student's good. I probably take it on
I take it on every bro that I know I'm going to take him to late game. I think Dredd just lost it. Bow bros don't need bow mastery to remain good. I would agree with that. I mean, I probably wouldn't build a bow bro. I haven't built a bow bro in a while. If I find like a famed one early or something, I might do that, you know. But I'm just like, if you're taking bow mastery, then you have a guy with a bow, and already in my mind, that's like why, you know. So that's my 2 cents on that. Killing Frenzy, I don't think should be this low. Lone Wolf in C tier. I think Lone Wolf probably belongs in B. But everything in Rock's list, like, so far, there isn't anything that's like 2 tiers away. It's just that, like, I think the generally good perks, usually he put in the good category, and the generally bad perks he put in the bad category. It's just I might disagree on 1 tier or more, right? You gotta stand up for Rocks. Your student is much better for the long game. I rated student S as well. Yeah. I don't think that anything's egregious here as well. No, you were not called a basic bitch, Rocks. No, absolutely not, dude. I did not fucking say that. What do you mean, bro? What do you mean? No. What I'm saying is like, Rocks doesn't have any like egregious takes. Like, there's no hot takes here, right? That's what I'm trying to say. There's just some things that I think a lot of us disagree with, but nothing like, you know, way out of left field. I would agree with first 20 days students worst perk to pick. Maybe not first 20, maybe first 15. Perfectly conventional. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So that's Rox's tier list. And then we went over Dread Spiders last night. We went over bows last night. I think it was Manifest agreed to let me pull up Manifests. We're gonna roast Manifest because he was the one who started this trend, okay? Okay. Your Reddit's worst nightmare. Give me your worst, chat. All right, this is Manifest. So please forward all hateful comments in Manifest's general direction, as long as you keep it respectful. Don't attack his character and only attack his opinions. That's where you're gonna do this. After this, we're gonna go over mine. Okay, so don't worry, guys. Okay, so starting off, we got Colossus, Nimble, 9 Lives, Gifted, Fast Adaptation, and Fearsome in S tier. I don't think that's anything too bad. All of you guys so far really high on Polar Mastery. I feel like Polar Mastery is pretty mid. Pretty mid. Reach Advantage is doing an F. Crippling Strikes below Bow Mastery. Nope. I agree with Crippling Strikes in F. I agree with Crippling Strikes in F. I think anytime you're taking Crippling Strikes in the year of our Lord 2025, I just don't know about that one. You know, like I just don't know. You know, keep your reach advantage out of your mouth. Crippling Strikes is a meme. Yeah, like can you make it work? I guess, you know, but you know, if you can make a bro with Crippling Strikes work, you could also probably make a bro with only 9 perks work. You know what I mean? Would rather Bow Mastery over Crippling Strikes? Really? I mean, on a thrower, yeah, I'd probably take Crippling Strikes over Bow Mastery if I had to, and there was a gun to my head. You know. Yeah, exactly. Like, but I mean, outside of that example, like, I don't run Bowman right now. I used to. When I was much worse at the game, but now I don't. Throwers are definitely where it's at. You know, so I mean, in that specific example, I guess the thing is, like, with Bow Mastery, like, you have a Bowman. Crossbow mastery with crippling strikes. On a crossbow guy, I would probably run a crossbow guy before I ran a bow dude. So, I mean, maybe. I feel like resilient. I am so low on resilient. I feel like resilient belongs in F tier. I think rotate's a little bit low. Bow mastery over recover and rotate. I don't know about that one. You can tolerate those two being equal. I think you may be right about resilient. Yeah, I am dumbfounded whenever I see somebody take resilient. Like I am at a loss for words. You have bow mastery too high? Okay, so Manifest concedes that he put bow mastery too high. You have officially slayed the giant, chat. Congratulations. Congratulations, guys. You've officially you made somebody on the internet change their mind. Do you guys have any idea how much of an accomplishment that is? It's never happened in the history of the internet. Nimble over Forge, debatable. Is it though? Is it debatable? I don't know. I mean, well, of course, everything's debatable. But I mean, I feel like, you know, when you take into the context of like the fact that Nimble's much easier to get and it's much more of a big power spike than Battleforge, I don't know. I feel like Nimble is better than Battleforge. Now, in the super late game, different, right? You can pick so many better perks than Resilient. If you have enough free perks for Resilient, you're on drugs and have fucked up majorly on said build. I would probably agree. I feel like Killing Frenzy and Shield Expert are a little low. Yeah, I think the most egregious take here was the Bowmaster. I think that's the most thing that's out of place. You made me change your mind about Steelbrow, though indirectly. Oh, another changed mind in the chat. Whoa. Bow mastery needs to be higher? Manifest was saying bow mastery needs to be lower. Unless I misunderstood it. God damn it, Rox, no. No. What, Rox, why are you so high on bow mastery, dog? Hang on. This is Rox's. Oh, dude, yeah, he has Rox in A. He has bow mastery in A tier. Man, that's crazy talk, Rox. That is insanity, there, buddy. That's the okay, yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, that is the one egregious thing about Rox's list was the bow mastery. When you tap a guy from yards away with a good bow and you bust a bit, you'll know why. I mean, I've done that, right? But you know, doesn't I don't feel like it happens enough to justify it. You know what I'm saying? Resilient fixes inherent DOT weaknesses on a potentially good stat bros with additional benefits and utility for taking other status effect. That's the only reason to take Resilient. 2 headshots in a row because of bow mastery. I mean, look, that sounds sick. You know, it sounds like we're living in magical Christmas land, you know. And in magical Christmas land, you know, that sounds pretty cool. But I don't play Battle Brothers in magical Christmas land. I never make my way to magical Christmas land. My runs are chaos because I'm not that good. Oh my god, Bobo. Why take bow mastery when you can just make one step closer and do an aimed shot? That is fucking hilarious, dude. Okay. Pointing attention back at Manifest list. The bow mastery needs to be lower is what he said. I think
Indomitable over Battleforge. Manifest, could you please defend your position on Indomitable over Battleforge? That confuses me. That confuses me. Keep that single Christmas land out your motherfucking mouth.
For a nimble lover, it's understandable.
I really don't go indom on my nimble tanks too frequently. I mean, like, I usually will, like, if I have an extra perk point, but...
Rock's defense, how does new quiver affect how we view bows? I don't think it affects it too much. I haven't played around with the quiver myself, but when the update came out, I watched a bunch of streamers who, including What the Bard, who tried it out and was like, this shit sucks, it's not worth running a bow. So I don't, based off of their experience, I don't think there's all that much to it. Maybe Indom and Battleforge should be same tier, but Indom provides so much value and is not gear dependent. Okay. I mean, I'd probably disagree, but I feel like that's a defendable position. You know what I mean? Like I'm not absolutely 100% confident that if we were having a debate that I could sway you on that one. I think that's a defendable position, and Indom plus Nimble gives 50% damage taken for the turn. Tanky boys rejoice.
Okay, maybe I'll adjust how I play my Nimble tanks then.
Okay, so we're here in the Battle Brothers Perk tier list maker. Okay, so we're here. This right here is not my list. Okay, we're gonna start from this point though. This list is the community list. So of all the people who have done tier lists for Battle Brothers, this is what they did. So I figured starting at this point would be a little bit more efficient because, like, who's really going to disagree that Gifted is S tier? You know what I mean? The community is on correct. Yeah, so there are some things that, I probably don't really agree with too much. So here's what I'll do. I am going to take away the things and put them into D tier of the things that I definitely don't agree with. All these are fine in S tier for me. I'm not going to fight that. I feel like Fearsome should be higher, so I'll just put that up there. Let's do... I feel like Student should be higher. Fast adaptation should definitely be higher. Either B or A tier, not sure. Anticipation should not be in D tier. I'm fine with these. Let's add 2 more tiers for extra precision. That's a good idea, but I don't know how to do that. Oh, here we go. I can add a row above. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay, so let me take all the ones that I disagreed with and put them in there. Actually, I don't think I can put Battleforge confidently in S tier, but I don't know about Quick Hands in S tier either. So we'll start there. Where do you think the 2 tiers should go, Bobovich? And we can kind of put this one together, right? We can kind of make it a community thing if you guys like. I disagree with that anticipation.
Man, a lot of people are really high on Polar Mastery. I don't know if I can get behind that action. I disagree with that. I disagree with this. I disagree with this. I disagree with this, definitely. Those are probably fine. That seems fine. Okay, so far, without thinking about it too hard, these parts seem fine to me. Bro, you need to take control here. Actively tell us we're ass and you know better. See, maybe that's what I should do, right? Maybe that's objectively the best strategy for content creation, you know? That's just not how I am, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always open to hearing ideas or whatever, you know. I think that all this shit is fine. I don't think that anything really is too egregious here. I might disagree with the order, but I'll do the order, whatever. Then post the rage bait on Reddit. Yes, that's objectively the strat, right? Maybe that's what I should do, but I never claimed to be a wise man. Okay. I feel like Fearsome is S tier. We're going to slap that up there. I think Student is probably either B or A tier. See, here's the thing about Student, guys, right? You know, is Sword Mastery that bad? Oh, I didn't even realize that. No, I don't agree that Sword Mastery is that bad. I don't agree that Flail Mastery is that bad either. Thanks for pointing that out. Now, it's not much better, but I don't think they're that bad for sure. Student, he doesn't deserve S because you shouldn't be taking it on every bro, in my opinion. You know, it's not actively bad. I'm never stoked when I take Sword Mastery, but it's like, you know, there are definitely going to be certain scenarios where I want to take it. You know, and those definitely pop up. I think that's fine. So student gets there because, you know, it's not S tier because not every bro should be taking it, in my opinion. You definitely should be taking it on level 1 for every single bro, especially in the first 10 days of the campaign. I usually find myself, like, if it's day 40 or 50, if I end up taking Student first level on a guy I'm trying to baby and level up, I usually always end up regretting it. Because by the time I want to slap him into the front line, around level 5, 6, or 7, he's down 1 perk point, and that matters a lot. So, I mean, unless you are, like, really, really able to protect him, which I haven't quite mastered the art of how to do that 100% of the time, I don't think Student is an auto-include on every guy. Fast adaptation. Definitely disagreed with this one, right? They rated fast adaptation in D tier. I don't know what guy or what person first said that fast adaptation is a bad perk. I don't know who said it, and I feel like everybody just fucking repeats that shit like a parrot because they don't really know how it is, right? They don't know what it's like when you're thugging it out in the trenches on day 8 and you need some fast adaptation, right? They don't know what it's like, okay? Now, I feel like in order for you to say fast adaptation is a bad perk, that's a place of privilege, you know? You probably play with the tryout mod. You probably reset, you know? like I feel like you have to do that if you think fast adaptation is bad. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing morally wrong with those things, but you don't know what it's like thugging it out in the trenches if you're rating fast adaptation that bad, right? Even Sins loves fast adaptation. Yeah, I know exactly. So, I mean, I don't think it's S tier or anything, but like if this was a tempo perk tier list, I'd probably put it in S tier. But this is just in general. So with that, I'm gonna put it in B tier somewhere, and we're gonna decide the order later. Battleforge was originally an S.
I think that Battleforge is confidently one notch below Nimble, because Nimble you can kind of use. You can beat the game with all Nimble bros. You know, I haven't done it, but I know that you can do it because people who are better than me have done it. But it takes way more time to get a full squad of Battleforge guys. And so you can't really clear the game at the same pace if you're only doing Battleforge. So I think that power spike puts it in S tier, a clear category above there. I think 9 Lives in A tier is fine. Actually, no, I don't agree with that. We're gonna think about these. We're gonna think about those two for a little bit. Quick Hands was an S tier originally. I think it's a great perk. I don't know if I can give it S though. I just don't know if it really belongs up there. I used to think that Quick Hands was like a huge, significant power spike. I don't really think that anymore. I don't think it does enough on most bros. Probably still most two-handed frontliners are going to take Quick Hands on. Not saying it's bad by any means, and every single thrower is getting Quick Hands. For sure. Why is Brawny not in there? Brawny's in unranked. Brawny was ranked somewhere, and I took it out because I'm disagreeing with it. I feel like Quick Hands is an A tier. Anticipation was in D. That's horseshit. Anticipation is a solid B perk. If you can get some arrow magnet strats going, Anticipation's pretty great. I'm happy with that. Some of you guys put Polar Mastery in S. Some of you put it in A. That's fucking crazy to me, dude. That's crazy. It's a solid B tier perk for me. A bro without Quick Hands is more fatigue efficient. Anticipation is garbage. Not worthless, but garbage. Hard disagree, Dread Spider. Hard disagree, dude. I've been taking Anticipation on Arrow Magnet bros. And it's when I'm able to get a guy going like that, I'm very happy. I'm very happy when I'm able to get like an Anticipation banner. Very happy. Polar Master, just get a Goblin Pike, dude. Yes, that you can also just do that. You know, so I mean, the next would be Adrenaline. I'll be honest, I haven't picked Adrenaline enough to have a solid opinion on it, so I'm gonna slap it in C. It seems fine. I haven't taken it too much. It's whatever. I will sometimes take Brawny, but I'll take it as a patch perk. Brawny's a patch perk to me. So that's why it's in C instead of D. This perk, I think this is Reach Advantage. Haven't played with it enough to have a significant opinion on it. Steelbrow. Steelbrow, the man of the hour. Agree on this point, but it is godly on that one bro. Yes, exactly. It's usable on one bro tops. Sure. Yeah. I would agree that's where, you know, maybe it should go in C tier then. Adrenaline is the best perk in the game when it's usable. Yeah, I feel like it's another Magical Christmas Land scenario. You know, because, like, I was not around in the days of Adrenaline Recover cheese shenanigans, so, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't currently have an opinion on Adrenaline. Maybe I'll make it a point to play around with it a little bit more. Adrenaline's for short fights and long fights. It screws you over. I find myself in long fights a lot. Since advocates for more than one Anticipation, bro, he loves it on newts. Nine Line Colossus S tier. I'll get to that in a minute. Steelbrow, the man of the hour. Some people rated Steelbrow in S tier. Some people rated it in D tier. For me, he goes in C tier. Steelbrow goes in C tier because I can definitely think of scenarios where you would want Steelbrow over 9 Lives, but I can't think of them very frequently. And I think 9 Lives replaces Steelbrow in most traditional builds that you would want, like Colossus plus Steelbrow in. I think a Fat Newt with Colossus and 9 lives instead of Colossus and Steel Brow is a better Fat Newt 99% of the time. Sword Mastery, not in D tier. There are definitely instances where you want that +5 to hit. If you have a guy who's, accelerating pretty quickly, you have a two-hander. I think being able to get those arc attacks going as sort of like a, you stay 40 or whatever. You have a few nimble guys. You got a couple two-handers. You got a great sword. I think that Sword Master really puts on a lot of work in that sort of section, right? And is that guy really going to make it to the late game? No. But Sword Mastery helps him be more effective in the meantime, right? So that's where we're going to put Sword Mastery. Flail Mastery, there are hilarious builds that require very premium bros that you can do that involve Lone Wolf, Flail Mastery, Headhunter, and a whole bunch of damage. So this goes in C tier for me. And then the question of the hour. Okay, so here's a story of Colossus and 9 lives for me, boys. Colossus, right? When I first started playing, I remember watching a YouTube tips video by Filthy Robot. And he was like, Colossus is good, take it on every single bro ever. I might be paraphrasing him, but that's what I remember. He might not have exactly said that. But that's what I did. Okay. Then after that, I was like, okay, cool. I'm chilling, right? So Colossus on every bro. And then my bros started dying. A lot. And they kept dying. And then someone at some point was like, hey, you should take 9 lives, right? And I was like, nah, Filthy Robot told me to take Colossus instead. So I ignored these cries for quite a long time. And then I started streaming. And once I started streaming, there was this guy in my chat named Manifest Destiny's Child who was like, hey, you should try taking 9 lives. And I was like, well, I feel like Colossus is just better than 9 lives. And 9 lives kind of sucks. And then I started playing around with 9 lives. And I'm like, whoa, I'm a changed man, right? So for me, originally, 9 lives was an A tier. But the reason I took both of them off, because now I'm wondering, is Colossus better than 9 lives, right? And I gotta think about that. What is Colossus still better than 9 lives? I like to use both when I can, for sure, right? But let's say that I only have a spot for one of them for whatever reason. Am I taking Colossus or 9 lives, right? Obviously there's context, right? So, you're more incentivized to take Colossus with a guy who has high HP, more incentivized to take 9 lives with a guy who has low HP. Obviously. Let's say it's in the middle of the pack, right? Firepoint, why are you making low health bro nimble? Well, usually if you have a low health bro, right, and you're making him nimble, it's because he's some form of tempo bro, right? And I do not live in Magical Christmas Land where every single hire that I have has premium stats in every stat that he has. And I have to make it work with whoever the fuck I do got, right? That's just how my runs go, Everybody likes talking the internet about like, oh yeah, well, every single frontliner's gonna have 50 melee defense and 160 melee attack, It's additional note from a previous comment. Probably throwers, you want to level their other stats so there isn't much time for patching HP. Yes, throwers also would be a good example. I think at this point, I can confidently say that 9 lives is slightly better than Colossus. So because of that, I'm gonna put both of them in S tier, but I'm gonna put 9 lives first. So this is all the unranks, right? Okay, so we're gonna delete that. Then I'm gonna go for the order, right? So this is the permanent tiers, right? You never thought you'd see. I think it's like 3% better than Colossus right now. I think 9 lives is only 3% better than Colossus. I still think there are plenty of bros where you would take Colossus over 9 lives. But I think 9 lives is slightly better than Colossus on the majority of bros that you're going to find. I know you never thought you'd see this day, but you have Manifest, so. We're here now. I think Fearsome is probably bottom S tier. I think Gifted is probably just the best perk in the game. This seems like a fine S tier to me. I think Berserk over Pathfinder. I'm a little bit lower on Pathfinder than a lot of you guys. Indomitable should be B tier. I think Dodge is definitely better than Pathfinder. This seems okay. Berserk, Underdog, Throwing Mastery, Duelist, Dodge, Shield Expert, Killing Frenzy. This A tier seems fine. Going down to the B tier. Why do you try to fit a bro into a role who has inadequate stats for that role to begin with? If you use words patch up, I think you messed up in bro evaluation. So, right, to finish my argument, Bobovich, right? I don't know what version of Battle Brothers you guys are playing, okay? Maybe we're playing different forms of Battle Brothers, right? Totally possible, right? But all I'm saying is that in my run so far, I have not been showered with bros who have God stats since day one, right? And the few bros that I do find who have close to God stats often die, right? So by the time I get to the late game crisis, right, not all my guys are premium late game Chad. So if either you're playing the game and you find yourself in a scenario where every bro you have is a god, then one, congratulations. I would consider that very lucky because I just don't find enough bros like that. And two, congratulations on keeping them alive because half the bros that I do find that are premium god bros end up dying and I have to use somebody else, right? I don't fit bros and builds someone told me about. It's vice versa. I fit my builds for my bros. I would agree with that. I also do that, right? But like the words, a patch perk is a legitimate approach, right? Like, so, I mean, let's say I needed a Battleforge tank, right? And we're late into the game and I needed a Battleforge tank. If I found a guy who had almost enough fatigue to be a Battleforge tank, I can slap Brawny on him and now he can be a decent Battleforge tank. Almost every bro you hire in early game are flawed, and unless you're an uber late game player, you aren't replacing those flawed early game bros to do legendary locations. Yes, I would agree with that. So like a lot of times I got to make do with what I have. That's what I'm saying, right? That's why words like patching HP is alien to me. So okay, so that's how to phrase this. Like I get the philosophy that you're under, Bobovich, is that you're supposed to take the bros that you have and cultivate the roles around them into a solid synergistic company, right? And while that's certainly true, and that is an aspect, one of the pillars of how to play the game, that's certainly true, right? A lot of times, for certain fights or for certain late game crises or certain strategies, there are some builds that are really difficult to win with without having at least one. For example, in Monolith, right? A lot of people who clear Monolith say that you need 2 Lone Wolf tanks, or you need 1 tank, or a tank is necessary to clear Monolith. Now, obviously, it's not exactly true, right? But that'd be an example. That's your philosophy taken to the extreme, yeah. Some fights might need a specific role, right? So maybe a specific fight needs a tank. In order to make the fight reliably consistent, it might need a tank, or it might need a damage dealer, like Strats, for instance. Strats, you're probably going to want weapons that can actually chop their shields to be able to consistently hit them, right? Do you need them? No, right? But that'd be an example of... There's a lot of things like that in Battle Brothers where you might need a couple builds here or there to really make it. And so what happens is if you just take the approach of I cultivate my builds around my bros, you might end up in a scenario where there's not a whole lot of synergy in your company, right? And I'm not projecting that onto you, right? But when we're talking about general advice within the community, right? Like, I think that there definitely is a place for, you know, hey, you want to try to find 1 to 2 guys to occupy this role, whatever it means. You will take your time finding a proper hero. I don't need patching up. Until that time, tempos will do. Right. And so that's great, right? And that's legit, right? I can't consistently find proper bros, is my thing, right? So there are the tempo guys who are the scrubs, right? And then there are the proper bros. And then there's these guys in between who are almost proper bros. And they just need a little bit help in one stat, right? So I'll take those guys, give them a patch perk to fix that issue so that I can have a proper bro, right? That's what I'm saying that I would do. So, yeah. Back to the tier list. I'll move these around a little bit. I think bags is... This is lower. Something like this. Yeah, something like this is probably fine. C tier. I'm kind of high on Executioner. I'm high on Relentless. I'm low on Taunt right now. This seems fine. And then I'd probably rate Resilient as the worst perk. Bullseye is the second worst. Crippling Strikes is better than Bow Mastery, I think. It's also probably better than Foot... No. Yeah, I think it's better than Footwork. Yeah, I think Crippling Strikes is better than Footwork. Here's where trying out comes in. With the right traits, you can guarantee mediocre, bro, at least, and beyond exceptional with max roll and traits. Okay. I have officially rated my tier list right here. If you guys have any thoughts you want to throw out on how I'm doing this, then go ahead and go for it. Otherwise, we're going to get into the run. Your notes on trying out there, Bobovich. I'm not sure that, because all trying out does is reveal a trait, right? I'm not sure that that's going to fully encompass what I need to know about a guy, right? Especially if I'm hiring like a militias or something like that, like a middle of the pack background, but I'm trying to find it. You press the tryout button a lot post day 50. Perhaps I should be doing that more then. If there are multiple people telling me that I should try out more frequently, then maybe I should at least trying out, right? I disagree with Gifted, but you won't be able to convince you. I don't want to say that it's impossible to convince me. And I am willing to hear out arguments, but we already discussed that the other night. You do try it a lot looking for huge bros. Makes sense. Okay, then perhaps that will assist the tryout button. Maybe I'll try that in this run later on if we find ourselves in that sort of opportunity. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that it's going to be impossible for you to convince me off gifted, but I will say it's very unlikely. If a bro has a +5 melee defense, it's an auto hire on, in most cases, try to prove me wrong. Well, that's not really how I mean, it's not really how debate works, right? Like, it's you're the affirmative position in this case, right? So I don't have to prove you wrong unless you demonstrate logical arguments or evidence or something, and then I would debate that sort of thing, right? But I would be the negative position. I think +5 melee defense is good, right? But doesn't really matter that much if I'm looking for an archer, for instance, right? Multiple people in the chat said that they play bowman, right? So in that instance, no. Well, I am using absolute. All it takes is one example to prove me wrong. Yeah, but it's still not. That's not. Yeah. Sure. But you're still stating the absolute. The absolute doesn't get to assume correctness, and it's my job to prove it wrong. It's not how logic works. Okay, point taken for Archer. In fact, trying out for Archers is kind of pointless. Gotcha. Okay. So this is my tier list. You guys can feel free to continue to roast it if you like in the chat, or roast it in the Discord server. Totally chill. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch gears. We're going to focus on this run here.